Jeffrey Dahmer was not charming. He was not persuasive. He was not socially skilled. And yet he became one of the most infamous serial killers in modern history. That alone tells us something important. There is no single psychological profile for a monster. Some hide behind charisma. Others disappear into silence. Dahmer's story is not about manipulation of others through charm. It is about isolation, control, and a mind that slowly collapsed inward. To understand Jeffrey Dahmer is to understand how loneliness, fantasy, and emotional detachment can combine into something profoundly dangerous when left unchecked. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was born in 1960 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. From an early age, he appeared different. Teachers described him as withdrawn. Classmates remembered him as quiet, awkward, and emotionally distant. He struggled to form friendships and often seemed detached from the world around him. His parents' marriage was unstable, filled with tension and emotional absence. When they divorced, Dahmer was left largely alone. Psychologists note that chronic emotional neglect does not automatically lead to violence, but it can distort emotional development, particularly when paired with isolation. As a child, Dahmer developed a fascination with dead animals. He collected roadkill and dissected it, not out of cruelty, but out of curiosity. He wanted to understand how bodies worked. This fascination with anatomy and control over physical forms would later take on a darker meaning. During adolescence, Dahmer realized he was gay at a time when he felt unable to express it. He felt shame, fear, and deep loneliness. Unlike Bundy, who sought power over others, Dahmer sought connection. But he did not know how to form it. This inability to connect emotionally would become central to his crimes. Dahmer began drinking heavily as a teenager. Alcohol became a coping mechanism, numbing his anxiety and social fear. Substance abuse is common among individuals struggling with identity and emotional regulation, and in Dahmer's case, it lowered inhibitions and amplified fantasy. Fantasy played a critical role in Dahmer's psychology. But unlike some serial offenders, his fantasies were not rooted in domination for its own sake. They were rooted in possession. He wanted someone who would never leave him, someone who would not reject him, someone he could keep forever. This desire for permanent companionship twisted into obsession. In Dahmer's mind, control became a substitute for intimacy. He did not want to hurt people to feel powerful. He wanted to stop them from leaving. His first murder occurred in 1978. Afterward, there was a long gap. This gap is important. It shows internal conflict. Dahmer did not immediately escalate into serial killing. He attempted to live a normal life. He joined the military. He failed. He returned home. He drifted. Over time, his fantasies grew stronger. Alcohol became more central. Isolation deepened. Eventually, fantasy again demanded reality. Dahmer's crimes followed a consistent psychological pattern. He lured men back to his apartment under the pretense of companionship. Once there, he incapacitated them. His actions afterward were driven by a desire to preserve control and prevent abandonment. Psychologists describe this as a fusion of attachment disorder, paraphilic fantasy, and severe emotional detachment. Dahmer understood that his actions were wrong. He was not delusional. He was aware. But awareness did not stop him. One of the most disturbing aspects of the Dahmer case is how often warning signs were missed. Neighbors complained about smells. Police encountered victims who escaped briefly but were returned to Dahmer due to assumptions and bias. This was not just a failure of one individual. It was a failure of systems. When Dahmer was finally arrested in 1991, he confessed almost immediately. Unlike Bundy, he did not deny his crimes. He did not attempt to manipulate the narrative. He spoke openly, calmly, and without visible emotion. During interviews, Dahmer described himself as broken. He acknowledged his compulsions and expressed confusion about why he was the way he was. Psychologists noted that while he showed some awareness, he lacked true emotional empathy. His remorse appeared intellectual rather than emotional. At trial, Dahmer was found legally sane. This distinction matters. Being sane does not mean being normal. It means understanding right from wrong. Dahmer understood. He simply could not stop himself. In prison, Dahmer lived quietly. He did not seek attention. He did not glorify his actions. In 1994, he was killed by another inmate. Jeffrey Dahmer's story forces us to confront a different kind of darkness. Not the predator hiding behind charm, but the damaged individual dissolving into isolation. His crimes were not driven by rage or revenge, but by a distorted attempt to escape loneliness. The dark psychology behind serial killers is not a single narrative. Dahmer shows us that evil can grow in silence, in neglect, and in emotional absence. Not all monsters are loud. Some are invisible until it is too late. And that may be the most unsettling truth of all.